Welcome to the Three-Man Weave Show, hosted by SportsbookReview.com. It's Wednesday. The boys got a great slate of games to talk about today. Jim, Matt, Ky, the Weave. Hey, guys, before we start the show, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, SBR Sports Picks. And a reminder, as always, go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAB for more college basketball content. I'm serious about the like button. Smash that like button right now. Do it. Don't hesitate. Jim, takeaways from yesterday, a Tuesday that was kind to the Weave.
Yeah, it went well than my best bet. So shout out to you guys for carrying the organization. I'm sure Colorado State was a lock. It just got canceled. You know, I was definitely going 1-1. Tip of the cap to Michigan State for being the only big program that survived, because Kentucky and Duke sure didn't. Michigan State skated by the hair on their chinny chin. Penn State had a triple to go ahead with like 7 seconds left that was wide open and probably should have gone down. So, you know, they can at least hold up hope that they could get to the NCAA tournament right now.
Jim, my takeaway involves the Purple Kittens, who I reluctantly, very cautiously endorsed last night as an unofficial show play. They got it done against the Longhorns. I just want to spotlight them and Iowa State, the two dregs of the Big 12 Conference. They're sneaky competitive folks. I think they have value going forward. K-State 2-0, their last two against the spread. Iowa State 3-0 in their last three. Both teams are getting healthy. There seems to be like that late season push. I think we've seen some bottom tier teams in other conferences just wave the white flag and throw in the towel. I think you're seeing some bite out of the dogs of the Big Bad 12 here, Ky.
Yeah, starting to gel a little bit, maybe. Maddie, the Iowa State transfers, the Kansas State freshman. My takeaway, guys, is Chris Beard. For those who watched the West Virginia and Texas Tech game, a very good game, by the way, he had an amazing technical near the end of the game, got down on the floor, threw a tantrum. But before he hustled off the floor, he remembered to give Bob Huggins a fist bump.
I saw that. Loved it.
Dap him up a little bit. We're showing the respect to Huggy Bear. And then he jogged off the floor like all good Chris Beard teams do, constantly hustling, no walking from Chris Beard. It was an awesome technical, great display, great game overall. Go Mountaineers. What a showing for them. All right, into the rundown. Let's talk about games today. Starting in the ACC, Virginia at Georgia Tech. The Hoos, 4.5, 4-point favorite. Nobody seems to be talking about this team as much in recent years. 9-1 in the ACC, guys. Sole possession of first. Jim, Jay Huff is the ACC KenPom Player of the Year currently. However, Virginia is 0-2-1 their last three against the spread. Does Georgia Tech have a shot at an upset tonight?
I probably do, just because of their funky defense and, you know, that 1-3-1 they throw out there that I do think Virginia can probably solve. And the big thing is Virginia can shoot this year, man. Holy cow. What a difference from last year. Basically a 180. I think Ky Clark led them in 3-point percentage last year. And now they've got four guys shooting over 40%. It's two guys sitting in the top 30 nationally in 3-point percentage, and Huff and Murphy, and Hauser's not far behind. So that really helps against the Georgia Tech zone. I kind of think Virginia is my lean here. I think I trust them to figure out the Georgia Tech defense more than I figure out the Yellow Jackets, more than I trust the Yellow Jackets against the pack line. But number is about spot on. So Matt, nothing for me here.
Yep, the price is right. I can't take Virginia. I would lean that way. You just kind of throw out last year that abomination of a UVA offense, basically a black sheep. You know what we're used to seeing from Tony Bennett. 2 years ago, that was the Kyle Guy, Ty Jerome team. This year's crop of talent is not on par with that, but they put up 81 points against this Josh Pastner zone. And that year, Georgia Tech was really stout defensively. So I'm with Jim. We've seen Tony Bennett use creative ways to solve zones. He's familiar with this Georgia Tech rendition. He's not going to be fooled by it. He'll have guys in the right spots. I think Hauser's kind of the X factor here. It's Virginia or nothing for me, but like I said, the number's too sharp. I can't take it.
Yeah, Jim mentioned shooting. I think Caroline Darney, friend of the Weave, mentioned that Ky Clark was the leading 3-point shooter last year at like 37%. And this year they have a couple guys over 40. So certainly a change for them. Georgia Tech's just physical, man. They're tough. Yep. They compete, and they have shooters to kind of shoot over the pack line this year. 40% in ACC play from three. I lean Georgia Tech here at home.
Wow.
I do. Not a play for me.
It's a tiny number, Ky. Teeny tiny number. Teeny.
Moving on, Rutgers at Iowa. Iowa minus 6.5 currently. It might be going up a little bit higher. 6.5 right now. Iowa's reeling. 1-4 in their last five. 0-5 against the spread. TJ Frederick has been hobbled during that stretch. We talked about him being the keystone of this team, apparently. And Matt, Rutgers is back on track, man. 4 straight wins after 5 straight losses. Who do you like in this game?
It's all about Frederick. I mean, at this point, it's so funny how we talked about Iowa at the beginning of the year having all these, this war chest of offensive assets. And now we fast forward to mid-February, and it's the only guy I care about is CJ Frederick. He's going to play. How effective is he going to be? Because when he's in there and he's good, this Iowa tier, this offense can go to a new level. Without him, we've seen some warts emerge. So if you can get, inside intel and talk to Mr. Frederick before the game and then share with us how he's feeling, how effective he'll be, that would be much appreciated. But until I get that level of insight, Jim, I just can't touch this game. He's that important.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to play, so I definitely lean towards Iowa. I think if he's out there, we get like the get-right home Hawkeye performance where the offense is lethal. And Rutgers, while they've been better offensively lately, I'm not sure they can score with a fully functional Iowa offense. But for Rutgers, though, they've won 4 in a row, and that's coincided with putting Jacob Young back to the bench and making him be kind of like the spark, sixth-man kind of wild card off the bench. It's become Geo Baker's team again, and they're just better that way. When Baker is the general, the leader, the guy that's making shots late in the game, and Young is more of like a wild card, like I said. So that identity for Rutgers makes more sense. They're better this way, but I just don't think they can score with Iowa if Frederick's out there, Ky.
I agree, Jim. The first game was close. Give Rutgers credit. No Amarui in that game either. Rutgers kind of just did it with physicality. I don't think they match up very well with Iowa, though. It's kind of brawn versus finesse. Rutgers likes to score inside, but Iowa's half-court defense inside the arc has actually been like the best part about their defense this year. There's some resistance in there at least. So I actually do lean Iowa on the bounce back. I can't recommend it without Frederick, as we talked about, but that's the way I'm kind of leaning, guys. I think it's kind of an Iowa resurrection here. Moving on. SEC. We got a couple games today in the SEC, starting with LSU at Mississippi State. The Bulldogs are a favorite in this game, -1. LSU's dropped 4 of the last 5. They've fallen from 22 to 43 in KenPom. This team's essentially Iowa light. Very good offense, poor defense, and weirdly, they followed kind of the same trend. We've seen Iowa follow the last couple of days. Jim, Darius Days, his health is obviously huge for LSU. If he's in, are you going LSU? If he's out, are you going Mississippi State?
I won't take Mississippi State here, even though Stewart and Molinar are going to have just a field day against this civ of a defense. But yeah, if Days is in, I definitely like LSU, especially at the current price. I think LSU should be favored if Days is playing. Mississippi State had that late blowout against South Carolina this weekend that, obviously juiced the rating a little bit. One game doesn't have a huge effect at this point in the year, but I just think LSU is the better team with Days out there. I'm pretty skeptical. I saw his injury, and it seems like it'd be really quick for him to be back already. Yep. But, I'm no doctor. What do I know?
Yeah, it was gross, Jim.
Yeah. So a lean towards LSU, but the injury questions today are myriad, Matthew.
Yeah, there's a lot I was going to say. We need to elevate some chat mob members who have, doctorate degrees in these types of fields. We, could get a lean on some of these injuries. I'm probably going to take LSU as an official show play here, even without the day's news. I will feel a hell of a lot more confident if he is in there and at least 75% of his normal self. He's just such a weapon on both ends. Just a force on the glass, can step out and shoot it, defends multiple positions. I should mention, though, the shot making this game will be high level. You got Molinar and Stewart on Mississippi State, and then Cam Thomas, our profile pick for today's show, elite shot maker. So I think we'll see a lot of scoring this game. I think the over does seem to have some value. But I'll just stick with the LSU side and cross my fingers that Mr. Days is in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, if we're talking pure scoring ability in college basketball, Cam Thomas might be number one. He makes everything. Like every single shot he takes goes in. He's been incredible this year as a freshman. Not a whole lot of hype, really, despite being a 5-star coming into school. Miss State, man, they've been tough. Got some moxie in them. Not a very pretty team, but they defend. They're the third best defense in the SEC. Their offense, Matt, you say Molinar, yeah, he can shoot, but their offense has been not that great this year. Can't really punish LSU like other teams in the SEC have been the last couple of days. And we know the Tigers can score on anyone. So I actually do lean the short spread with LSU on the road. Would certainly take it with Days in the lineup. Just a heavy lean without him currently as it stands. Yeah,
I'll add so it's a +1 is what I'm seeing right now as an official show play. I guess I would probably recommend folks maybe wait and see if Days is out. I think that line will probably come back up and you can get a little more value at LSU. So just maybe a way to play this one here.
Moving on. Marquette at Villanova. Villanova minus 11. Huge spread in the Big East here. Nova's been sleepy the last two games, guys. Lost to St. John's. Couldn't really bury Georgetown. They've dropped from 4-10 in KenPom since their COVID return. But Jim, your Marquette Golden Eagles have been a nightmare lately. Down to 5-8 in the Big East, 9-10 overall. Villanova won by 17 in the first game. Is this going to be another bloodbath for Villanova, you think?
I sort of think so. Villanova's struggled in their last two games as a big favorite. Now, obviously, they didn't cover against St. John's. When they lost, they did not cover against Georgetown over the weekend. They can light up Marquette from downtown. That's been Marquette's weakness defensively. They don't really get out on shooters. Foes are making a ton from beyond the arc, and that's obviously Villanova's strength. They spread you out, and they get into gaps, force you to rotate, get open shots. Gillespie had that nightmare game against St. John's. He bounced back, and I don't see Marquette with the kind of defender that makes his life miserable. Carton has that physical ability, but their perimeter defense has been worse than their interior defense, and that's where Villanova can strike. So lean towards them just on a matchup sense. Numbers about right for me. No play for me there, Matt.
Yeah, no play for me here. I think the number's about right. Maybe you could argue it's a little bit high, just given Nova's complacency as a large favorite, as you mentioned. You just listen to Jay Wright talk in some of these post-game press conferences, and you just tell he's just happy to be getting by with wins. I don't think this doesn't have that same Villanova firepower that we've seen in years past. I think coming off the shutdown has played a big part of that. The fact that Brian Antoine has not been integrated in the backcourt mix, it seems to lack that next level gear of speed. So for that reason, I'm not going to take Nova's large favorite, but I think I'd lean that way, especially with Justin Lewis still apparently hobbled, the key defender for Marquette. Only played 7 minutes off the bench last game. I think it's a little bit concerning coming into tonight, Ky.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Villanova kicking it into gear. I don't think Marquette cares about this season anymore. They played perfect basketball in the first game, scored 1.29 points per possession, but Marquette's been awful lately. So, yeah, it's a Villanova lean for me. Certainly a big spread. Can't take it officially here, but, yeah, I lean towards Villanova. All right, first round of chat mob questions. I have not assigned a czar, but I assume we're going to get some one of you guys to step up here. I first need to address the Luka Garza smearing in here. People are saying Luka Garza is overrated. I mean, that's just completely false. He's the best player in college basketball the last 2 years. I don't know what else you want from him, guys. The guy averages almost 30 points a game. If that's overrated, I'm the Queen of England. All right, Jim, are you the chat czar?
Congrats on being the Queen of England, Ky. I think that's what we found out right here.
Your grace.
Yeah, I have it's been hot and heavy in the chat mob. I've been racing to keep up with it. Adam Johnson started it off with Houston Baptist at Abilene Christian off the extra board. Matt, you've been kind of a Houston Baptist guy this season. Are you backing them today?
It's a big number. I can't, though. Abilene struggled last game. I think they come out with a better effort tonight, and the pace will play really high. So it's either Houston Baptist or bust, but the Abilene, truck just kind of concerns me.
Okay. Ky, I'll go to you for this one from Sean Lutz out in the WCC. Pepperdine at San Francisco. The Waves, coming in here against a Dons team that is off a COVID shutdown, coming off a pause. What are you thinking here?
I'm kind of leaning Pepperdine, guys, and I'm a San Fran guy.
I know, I am too.
You know me, I'm a Don guy. I love Todd Golden, friend of the pod. I don't trust San Francisco out of a shutdown quite yet, and Pepperdine's got a lot of talent. I lean their way, Jim.
The Waves have been good to us, Ky. I'm with you on that one, and I hate going against the Dons, but they have been too good to us.
Yep. Regis asking about an SEC battle, Georgia at Tennessee. I think there's a consensus lean here among the Weavers. Anybody going to be bold enough to take it?
I took it at 13. I believe it's been bet down to 12.5 now. Now it's, I think, painted 12 across the board. I think it's a little bit too low. Maybe I'm splitting hairs between 12 and 13 numbers and aren't really that key in the grand scheme. But Georgia's been playing better. Just the question is, can they score against Tennessee? A transition-reliant offense, Jim, and Tennessee is not going to give up anything in transition. They're not going to give anything pretty much in any situation. So Georgia will have to make tough shots to keep it close. I think they can, but I wouldn't recommend it as an official show play.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. I don't fully trust them. Tennessee's been bad against zone defenses, and that's not what Georgia's throwing at you. Doug Proxmire asking about Wake Forest, Boston College, holstering this for the best bet section. So, Doug, we will get to that later. Stick around. Matt, question comes straight to you from Jared Nichols asking about his boys at Nichols. What do you got there?
I actually made the number lower. For some reason, it's Nicholls State and St. Bonaventure are two teams that I always want to bet, but it seems like the odds makers have put their price at a premium. It's Nichols or bust, but again, I think the Lamar I think that team could be undervalued. They've been hurt all year, so I can't take it. But it's fun to bet Nichols and State Bonaventure. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, Nichols changed up their lineup last game. They brought Najee Garvin off the bench. Unfortunately, didn't work against Sam Houston, but we trust Austin Clunch.
We do.
It's also been fun, guys, to fade Lamar. They've been an awful team this year. Worse in recent memory, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a down year for them.
Yep. Regis Austin, another question here. I'll go to Ky. Southern Illinois against Missouri State. Ky, I know you backed both of these teams over the weekend. Do you have a lean on this one?
I don't really. I was kind of leaning towards Southern Illinois, but number didn't get there for me. It's really a toss of these two teams. I've been very impressed with Missouri State. I love Gage Prem and Isaiah Mosley. Those guys are awesome. But Southern Illinois probably still missing Marcus Domask. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Didn't need him against Indiana State, but I can't take them against Missouri State tonight, Matthew.
Took them small. I thought SIUC was lucky to stay in both those games. I mean, they won the second one, right? But they made a lot of tough shots. I think Bradley made life miserable on them. I think it's a little bit of smoke and mirrors without Domask for the Salukis. I think they need him in here. I did take SIU small just on a value play, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, SIU also, Bradley was missing Ari Boya. Obviously, Missouri State not missing their big man. Prim can go to work inside there. SIU starts Anthony DeVonzo, a D2 shooter at center. He's like a 6'8" perimeter guy. He could get beat up inside there. We've got plenty more. I'll do one more before we holster the rest until the end. John Doe, we are going to get to your questions, I promise. Larry Gibson asking about the Iowa battle, Northern Iowa at Drake in the Valley. The Drake cover machine is off the rails. Ky, are they getting back on that streak? Getting a new one going, or are you riding with the dog?
Well, the spread came down a little bit here. I was actually looking at Northern Iowa. I think we talked about it internally. It might be time to stop treating Drake as like this godly entity of covering machines. I still think they're a very good basketball team, but fact remains, man, they've played two teams in the KenPom top 150, and it's not exactly great competition. They've certainly looked human last few days. Even before they looked human, they were getting down in the first half by like double digits to a few teams. We know that Missouri State debacle that happened earlier in the year. So, call it luck, call it whatever, good fortune that they went on a 16 whatever streak or ATS win against the record. I kind of lean towards Northern Iowa in this game.
I lean the other way. I think it's a young Northern Iowa team off that massive come from behind win, and they could get punked by an angry Drake team here. Just my gut feel.
Yeah, I've got a number leaned towards Northern Iowa initially in the opener. It's now about where it is. And yeah, Matt, that situational spot, Drake back home, they should be angry, although they are starting to have that risk of looking forward to the Loyola Chicago matchup. So we'll see if that catches up with them. Okay, let's go back to the outline. John Doe, we've got your questions coming. Jay Barry, Sean Mans, Don Juan. Lots of stuff still to come in the second chat mob section later, but we'll go back to the outline for now.
All righty. Let's do it. Uconn at Providence is our next game. Big East battle. Uconn minus 2.5 on the road here. Perhaps odds makers and the market alike are giving up on Providence, a team that's looked, frankly, pretty bad the last few games. A lot like Marquette. They've basically followed Marquette's lead here. They're 5-8 in the Big East as well. St. John's just destroyed them, Matthew. Book night, though. He is the key for the Huskies. They're 1-2 in the last three, now down to 5-4 in the Big East. Which way do you lean?
I have no lean because I don't know what the status is of James Bouknight. Jim, I know you found some good nuggets on him. Basically, Hurley saying he'll be a game time decision the rest of the year. It's sort of, I don't know. How did you interpret that? I was a little confused by that.
I interpreted it as he won't play. It was he's been in and out of things was the specific quote, which sounds like he's not quite ready. He's like he needs to find confidence and feel like he can play. The game time decision thing felt like I want to make sure my opponents have to prepare for him type of thing. So I'm going to expect he's out until it's reported that he's in, basically. So I lean towards Providence here. I actually think I'm going to pull the trigger and take Providence plus 2.5. So show play on the Friars. They have been bad, and perhaps I should be giving up on them. But this is usually when Providence starts to kick it in gear. Ed Cooley is definitely a February man. I think they were top 5 in Bart Torvik when you filtered for just February last year. So hopefully they can get back there. I mean, UConn's going to turn them into shooters, and that's not great for Providence, but they should be desperate. They need this game really, really badly. And if Bouknight is not back, then maybe UConn doesn't have the weaponry to score against Providence. So, yep, 2.5 plus 2.5, the Friars.
Yeah, Jim, looking at last year, February 15th, the rest of the year, 6 straight wins, and then obviously COVID canceled the season. So you're about 5 days too early on that, but I think your timing is pretty much, with the inflection point coming up here.
Hopefully.
Yeah, man, I watched that Providence game probably to my detriment. Their offense was just pitiful. It's a lot of standing, a lot of one-on-one, lots of forcing it to Nate Watson on the post, who's excellent. I just think the Huskies' defense is a little scary with that action.
Yes, yeah, totally agree there.
Yeah, if no book night, man, I certainly think Providence 2.5 is a fairly decent size spread. So I'm leaning with you, Jim.
Breaking news just announced, fitting here for our discussion on Providence. Jared Bynum is again a game time decision. So the de facto point guard who has missed the last what it seems like 8 games now. Right, I think you have to assume he's out. He's been out for a while now. But I think he'd be a boost if you get him back. So a little bonus free roll opportunity there if you take the Friars.
Alrighty, next game, SEC, and we're talking our Missouri Tigers, Jim Root. Why? Because we are a top 10 team.
Woo!
That's right, famous last words. But we're actually relevant in college basketball. That means we get to talk about them a lot. We've been doing 3-Man Weave for like 5 years, and we never really talk about Mizzou because they just haven't been relevant. But this year they are. It's great. They're 6-3 in the SEC. They're second, right behind Alabama. They just beat. They're the only team that beat Alabama. This is great. I'm going to live in this moment forever. Ole Miss, though, Jim, to their credit, 2 very good efforts in a row here. Beat Tennessee, beat Auburn. They have a stout defense inside to kind of match up with Tillman. It's a big battle. Romello White, Jeremiah Tillman. I have Mizzou favored, though, Jim. I don't think they should be a dog in this game.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. I mean, this is an unranked team favored over a top 10 team. That's kind of like a raise the alarm bells. What's going on here? Something's fishy. I mean, I get it. Like our advanced analytics ratings aren't very good. And this does feel like a Mizzou kind of letdown performance from historical Mizzou Tigers teams. So I'm concerned. But yeah, Ky, I have a pick or Mizzou, maybe a slight favorite as well. So numerically, I mostly agree with you. I'm worried about us against that tricky zone that Kermit plays. Obviously, it frustrated Tennessee. If we're not, locked in and game for it, then we could be stagnant on offense. And yes, I'm using we for our Tigers. That's right.
Damn right.
So concerned about it. Not going to take anything here. I'm just going to hope that Mizzou pulls it out. I faded the Tigers this weekend with Alabama, and they kicked my butt. So I'm gonna stay away this time.
Ky, are you going official show play here? Because I will join you if you do.
No, I'm too emotionally invested in the Tigers to officially take them.
A massive cop out. Okay, well I will. I'll back them fully and officially here. I like the gold and black Tigers tonight. I think Jim mentioned Ky, you mentioned the key match here. Romello White versus Jeremiah Tillman. Tillman's been the boon for this Tigers offense. Just the fact that he plays now and is a real force inside as opposed just to a mannequin who sets screens and commits dumb fouls. It's been a nice little boost for the Tigers. Ole Miss off 2 straight second half mega comeback surges. So if Mizzou gets up early, be wary of that Ole Miss run because it will be coming. And Kermit will make the adjustments, but I think Mizzou holds on here. I like Ky have Mizzou slightly favored. I will take them at the current number of +1. +1.
Yep.
Done. Locked.
Matt, the comeback thing. You saw the Alabama game. Mizzou let up a 21-2 run. It feels like a classic letdown spot for Mizzou. They have a better matchup, I think, here in this game. My number certainly goes their way. So heavy lean towards Mizzou, but as all gamblers are superstitious, if I take them on this show, they will lose. So I'm going to let you do it instead and hope my Tigers win. All right, last game on the rundown before we go to best bets. Houston at South Florida. This line hasn't really moved. It's been Houston -11 at least pre-show. It might have moved in the last couple minutes here when I looked away. Guys, Houston's loss at East Carolina was one of the most surprising things that's happened this season, in my opinion. Thankfully, they bounced back against Our Lady of the Lake. Really huge, really strong effort against them. Covered. There was actually a spread.
Ky, that's M. Night Shyamalan's Our Lady of the Lake.
Yeah,
right
was it really?
Darn tootin'. Houston really came out and gave them a run. Guys, South Florida hasn't played in over a month. And we've talked about the COVID shutdown things a lot. It sounds like they're not really ready for this game based on reading stuff, Matthew. I'm hoping that's true because Houston is my best bet. Houston -11, best bet. I don't see South Florida scoring.
I have bad news for you on the number, Ky. It
went
11.5. Yep.
I'm taking 11.5. Screw it. I'm
joining you.
I'm with you.
All right,
let's
go Cougars.
Let's do it.
South Florida's path to scoring is bleak, man. They're not really an outside shooting team. I think it's going to be really, really tough for them to score, Matthew.
Houston's got to make shots. I mean, South Florida, if there's one thing they do well, they can defend they defend the lane pretty. They got some size up front. They got some physicality. But man, their guards are Jekyll and Hyde. So I guess the only way South Florida stays in this game is they get white hot from three from, Castaneda or Collins or one of those guys. But from Jim, the nugget of information you found, it doesn't sound like they may even play a full workload. Conditioning issues are very real coming out of the COVID shutdown. I'm just shocked this number's not been bet up more. Open 10.5, it's still sitting 11.5. We've seen these games move 2-3 points in the overnight. So I don't know, maybe people miss this or there's something they see in South Florida. I'm confused. It probably will after the Weave endorsed it, obviously. The Weave steam's coming. Jim, thoughts?
You guys said a lot of the things that I planned to say because, I sent you guys that article this morning. So how dare you steal my talking points?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just taking all your nuggets. I apologize. That's on me.
Yeah, it's okay. I've got a couple more. In the last 8 times that these two have played, Houston is 5-2-1 against the spread, and the total's gone under 7 of the time. So clearly these two teams struggle to score against the other's defensive philosophy. I do think this Houston team has more shooting than past squads, though. And one little thing, that Houston sat all 5 starters against Our Lady of the Lake. So in a way, Sasser and Giroux and Grimes are all coming off that ECU loss. They have not gotten to get out there and against an opponent since that one. So they should still be quite angry, take it out on a South Florida team that does not have much shooting, as Ky said. So yeah, I'm with them on Houston at minus 11.5. Let's roll Cougars.
What is our consensus record, by the way? I'm just going to check that.
I think it's to 15-12 now on the year.
15-12. Okay, so probably.
Okay.
Not great.
Yeah, so not really what people are saying in the chat, right? All right, so
they play their own anecdotal games, and unfortunately, we have data to fight them.
They only pick out the losers. I get it. All right, we're going to best bets. We're going to start with Jim. What do you got, Jim? Remind the folks at home.
Well, I can't remind them because I haven't taken it yet. We're going to that Boston College game that I mentioned in the chat previously. I'm going to take Wake Forest on the road as a slight favorite. Let's see what it's at right now. Minus 1.5. Obviously, a slight road favorite didn't work out for me yesterday, but Boston College is kind of in shambles right now. We don't know exactly who's going to be on the court for them. As much as I scour the internet for details on that, I could not find any. They were really limited, only 5 scholarship players last game. I'm hoping it's still something close to that. We'll see who they get back. But either way, they're going to be rusty. I like this Wake Forest team quite a bit. They're rested now. Steve Forbes getting them moving forward. They've got some decent pieces. Davian Williamson, the guy that followed him from East Tennessee State's been fantastic. So, yep, Demon Deacons minus 1.5, best bet there.
All righty. Matthew.
Love it. I'm going with the shock. Wichita headed down to sunny Florida, taking on UCF. A rematch. These two teams played 2 weeks ago. Wichita squeaked by in kind of a high-scoring affair, won 93-88 in overtime. I think Wichita State team's undervalued. We saw them last game or 2 games ago against Tulane take their foot off the gas. They were up 20. Only won by 8. The Temple game, I just think they're playing. They're a team like SMU, Jim, Ky, where they get up, I think they get complacent, and as a result, they let a lot of these inferior teams creep back in. I think that creates more value on them in the market, especially in a game like this where it's close to a pick'em. I'm seeing -2 painted right now. I will lock that in as my best bet. I made it 3.5, 4. So I think there's value on the shock tonight. Road shock.
I'm with you, Matt. I'm taking that with you. I think Wichita State wins. Wichita -2. Let's do it.
All right, and as a reminder, I have Houston minus 11.5. I hope that hook doesn't come into play. It won't. They won by 20. There you go. Confidence in the show. It's easy to be confident before things actually happen.
I know.
Hindsight betting's way.
You envision your team's just making every shot and the other team's missing a shot. So yeah, you can just create all types of images in your head. It's so good.
Just a hindsight better. Ooh, be really, really good.
It'd be tough. Tough to beat.
Possibly invincible at that point. Yeah.
Possibly invincible.
It's like Primer.
Yeah, just like Primer. That's good. Very, very deep cut movie reference. All right, Jimothy. Chat mob round 2 questions. Let's do it.
All right. From John Doe and Scott Schaefer, they want to know about East Tennessee State at the Citadel. Big SoCon matchup. Ky, do you have anything here? I mean, can East Tennessee State get any stops in this one?
Yes, I think they can. I actually lean towards East Tennessee State in this game. I think they are just about right where we expected them preseason, even with the coaching change with Jason Shea. One of the better teams in the SoCon. So, yeah, I actually lean towards the Buccaneers here.
It's been bet up, though. I think it's at 8 right now in most places. So
yeah, it's
the
spread's gotten a little out there. Yeah, I agree.
They won 112-84 last game, just a courtesy reminder for folks out there. So
yeah, they've been making some crazy shots. Ky, I know you saw it in the VMI game. So there's a chance regression is biting East Tennessee State a little bit, but I still think they can score at will at the rim in this one.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, Matt, we'll go to you here because it is your alma mater. Indiana headed to Northwestern. This, you could say, this is a revenge game for losing at home to Northwestern, but you could also say this is a massive letdown spot after that big Iowa win. Which angle do you think holds more weight?
I think I've been to 2 or 3 Indiana games live here in Chicago, Ky. Northwestern's hometown team at Welsh Ryan Arena. It never seems to go well. It's just something about that gym. They're just like, it's just been a house of horrors. So for that stupid anecdote, I'm going to stay away from it. I do think IU, again, is trending up. I think there's real improvement we're seeing from the backcourt, providing some inside-out balance. And then what Armand Franklin's doing is becoming making a case for a potential all-conference caliber player in the future. So I like the way this team's trending. I just don't want to back him here tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I prefer Indiana as a feisty dog than I do a favorite. So.
Yeah, with that, expectations are high, not usually a good thing. I agree.
Yep. All right, big SoCon matchup. Jay Barry wants to know. I think a couple others asked about this too. Furman at UNC Greensboro, the rematch from Monday when Furman just ran him out of the gym. It was a really impressive effort. UNCG could not score. So now the line has flipped to about a pick'em with UNC Greensboro at home. Matt, do you have anything on this one?
Yeah, the spread closed -4 Furman in the first one. It played to 100, and so now it's basically flip-flopped. We're seeing Greensboro favored, although it came back down, as Jim mentioned, 2-round pick. I probably should bet Greensboro since I was on in the first one. I'm not going to. I think Furman's press offense is that good, and I think Bob Ritchie has the cheat code to solving that. So I will stay away, but I think the right play is probably Greensboro here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find Greensboro's shooting numbers from that first game. It was abominable. They were 2 for 18 from deep, 11%, and shot 36% inside the arc. So they just couldn't score. 0.67 points per possession was pathetic out of Greensboro. I do think we get a better performance from them.
No question.
I don't think I'm not gonna back them on the show. Furman's been much better lately, and they were really impressive on Monday. So I will avoid taking them on the show, but also lean towards the Spartans there. All right, Ky, an AAC matchup for Sean Mans here. Two teams that I don't know, you have mixed feelings on both, I think. Tulane at Tulsa. Tulsa with our boy Frank Haith over there. Yeah, any leans for you in this game?
Yeah, our boy Frank Haith. Yeah, he was well beloved at Mizzou. I lean towards Tulane, I guess. Like, if you're going to just give me a numbers aside, Tulane's been playing pretty well. I love Ron Hunter. Like, you give me Ron Hunter and Frank Haith, like that is such a difference in like and hate between two coaches.
Yeah.
And Tulane's they've been scrappy. Tulsa's been a little bit not great recently. So yeah, I'll lean Tulane in this one, Matthew.
I might take Tulsa if it comes down to 7. Open 9. I think it's 7.5 right now in most places. Tulane, worst shooting team in the AAC, both from behind the arc, from inside the arc. You need to make shots to beat a zone. That's just kind of how you beat zones. And that could be problematic for the Green Wave tonight. So I actually might take your boy Frank Haith if it drops to 7.
My just gut reaction to this is under because, like you said, I don't think Tulane can shoot, and Tulsa against those weird trapping zones that Ron Hunter throws out could also be frustrating. So, all right, SoCon, another one. Don Juan asked about Chattanooga at Wofford. This one's been bet down a little bit too, Matt. I think you and I both liked the mocks before it went under 5. Are you going to stick with it? Or are you going to kind of pass now?
Yep, it was 5 or bust, Jim, so I can't take it now. But definitely like the mocks. They blew a huge lead in the first matchup. I think that's fresh on their minds tonight, and they think they went outright. But we're betting value on this show, Jim, and there's no value right now at 4.
Yeah, want it to be 5. Wofford games are just they're tough to rely on because they take so many threes that the outcomes are mega volatile.
Right. Yep.
Longhorn Lover asking about Northwestern State at Incarnate Word. I think he actually addressed this to me.
Southland, baby.
Being on the extra board here. I have Northwestern State a narrowest of favorites here, but I'm not super confident in it. Incarnate Word's been really, really good, especially with Larson back in the lineup. Their big man rebounding dominant force. So stay away from me. Ky, anything for you there?
I like Northwestern State as well. I made him a favorite. Like you said, a slight one. So it's going to be a stay away from the show. But yeah, this team's a little bit underrated. I've been on them a lot this year to success, Matthew.
Ky, your Southland ratings have been money, so I'm just going to start blindly fading or trailing you on Southland plays.
And Northwestern State has flipped to a favorite, Ky. So yeah, definitely probably no favorite for us or no value for us there. Another Scott Schaefer question asking about my Badgers. and Nebraska. Actually, questions about both sides of this team total. Nebraska, it's a tough schedule spot for them going Saturday, Monday, Wednesday here, whereas Wisconsin is well rested. Nebraska off that shutdown, third game in 5 days. Man, I think they really struggle to score in this one. I would probably, if I had to have a pick here, that Nebraska team total under 62, that would be my pick on this one. Yeah, not a show play, but just, yeah.
Lean Wisconsin. Nebraska's been a little better than expected out of the shutdown, but you saw them tire out against Minnesota last game.
All right, last one, San Jose State at San Diego State. Another massive spread. San Diego State has won by 25 or more in 5 straight conference games. I think it's the first time it's ever been done, or it's the first time it's been done in a really long time, which is wild when you think about Gonzaga and the WCC hasn't done that. But they've been destroying bad teams. Matt Mitchell and Richard Washington were both out last game, each team's best player.
Yeah.
Matt, do you think San Diego State gets it done again with a 28.5-point spread?
It's up to, I think, 20, getting close to 30. I mean, I watched the first 10 minutes. First 10 minutes of that game. San Jose State played a perfect basketball game. We're down 1. I went to go, I think, do laundry, went back, checked my score app, and they were down 20.5. I mean, San Jose State the margin for error is so little, and if they fall off the rails, it can be a 12-0, 15-0 run in a hurry. I don't care if Mitchell's out in this game. I know his ankle's a little bit wonky after missing last night, so I don't know how you can possibly back San Jose State here. I just think 30 points is a massive, massive number for a conference game.
Yeah. We'll see. Okay, Ky, last one I saw was Charlotte, Old Dominion. You can't do anything until you know the status of Curry and Oliver for Old Dominion, so make sure you check that out. All right, Ky, why don't you close it back out for us here?
Yes, sir. Thanks, everyone, for joining in the chat mob. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, please, SBR Sports Picks. And, of course, go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAB for more college basketball content from the awesome Sportsbook Review team. We will see you on Thursday, 9 a.m. Central. Have a good one.